Okay, recording started. Can I just hear you speak so I can hear
Hello.
you? Okay,
So happy to be here.
amazing. Okay. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Welcome, Nona. We were going to have a live call, but now, or like a group workshop, but now we've pivoted and we're going to do this podcast style because I'm so excited to be chatting with my dear friend, Nona Morrow, who I'll introduce as she's a metaphysical minister. So, Reverend Nona, welcome.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. And yeah, we were just joking that I would say I'm a reluctant reverend. When I use the word reverend, I mean that like I'm in reverence of life and this miracle that we're going to talk about today, like who we are and why we're here. But I think people hear it and they think, oh no, here comes the Bible. Like it's not that. It's very like, to me, science and spirit are aligned, and the metaphysics means literally what's larger than what we can experience or see with our physical eyes or senses. So it's like the unseen, the space between us, which is kind of Tom's message, right? So it's like, oh, it's so cool how I heard Tom, I was just listening to a podcast the other day and I heard him say something about, he was actually quoting Stephen Hawking, the very end of one of his most famous books. He was saying something how, we are flickers in the mind of God. Now, I don't know if that was the right quote, but in the mind of God definitely is at the end of his book. And even though he's like an atheist, and
Right.
now the Miracles, which is the book that I follow, there's a direct line that says, we're ideas in the mind of God. So it's a really fascinating, I think I've just been taken up by this word God, but I became a minister just to be of service. So this is, and I'm new to it. So I do marry people, but I'm really stepping up in this role because my real passion is to talk about what we're going to talk about today. I know we've talked about it before, but it's just so exciting because I feel like this is it. This is the most important thing for all of us to actually receive or get in our lifetime. And once we do, it's like the sky's the limit for us in our life. Yeah.
Right. And so this thing is this conscious creation, right? Like that is that's the topic that I had given us for today's chat. Because over the years that I've come to know you, you have such amazing experiences, or you've shared stories of these experiences that people would likely, more mainstream culture probably would call this like manifestation, but we're going to speak to it from a slightly different, a little bit more of an expanded lens today. Yeah.
Yes. And what I see too is that all we ever do is create. So, I mean, in a course or when I'm working with people, I call it miscreation because we don't even, it's so unconscious that we don't realize that we're the ones with the power, that everything is coming from us, that we're experiencing ourselves out in the world. So when that happens, it's like, I have to say, I know everyone bashes The Secret, but in 2006, and I think it's when it came out, it totally rocked my world. Because up until that point, I really didn't have an experience, like Tom says. Like I didn't experience myself as the mind that maybe, and at the time, it wasn't my thoughts creating my reality. And now to me, or, it used to be Descartes, I think, therefore I am. And now it's like, I'm aware, therefore I am. Now I realize it's my consciousness that's sort of summoning energy into form, so that depending on where I am in my own mind and how, and I, might call it an elevator of consciousness, it's like, that's actually how I'm experiencing myself. And if that's true, it's such good news. Like at first, our egos are like, no, this isn't my fault. Like they did this to me. And it's like, that's definitely how I lived the first 50 years of my life. And now I feel so free to actually take a responsibility. Like I have an ability to respond to what I perceive, and that nothing's good or bad. And that there's so much to celebrate in everything. Like this week, talking to you, I know my flight got canceled. I was stuck in Vancouver. I had an ear. It's like all of these things happened, but it didn't really rock me at all. Like I feel this inner joy. And so that's really when I want to help people see that it's not what's happening in the world.
And so a lot of that, to what I'm hearing from you is that, this is a journey, and that you have been doing the work,
Yeah.
and that is what's allowing you to show up from now in this place, right? In this way
Right.
where things don't really rock you. And that is, I think, the difference. Like for me, when we speak about conscious creation, there's
Mhm.
the conscious aspect of it, right? Like Tom Campbell would say, consciousness is awareness with a choice. So like we have the awareness, we have to be doing the inner work. We have to be aware of what's underneath the surface so that we know what we are communicating to source, right?
Mhm.
So it's fascinating. And I love what you're speaking to, how like these things don't, um, they don't have to rock your world. It doesn't have to be chaos and panic, but these are the opportunities that we are given again and again to choose, like to make low entropy choices, to choose love over fear.
I mean, I really, if we broke it down and everything that I know to be true for myself in my experience is that there really are two things. It's like there's fear and there's love. And like every thought, I think, every
Mm-hmm.
reaction I have, everything I do comes from one or the other. And so, me getting better at identifying what's fearful,
Mm-hmm.
I do it faster. I'm still a thinker. I actually
Mm-hmm.
loved, I remember hearing Eckhart Tolle say once that, like, in German, is the word for human being is Mensch,
Okay.
and a human being, he loves that word because it's like we're human, we live in the world of gravity, and we're this being dimension, this vertical, like
Mm.
this essence piece, and I just love that.
So
And I
that's
was
like there's this intersection,
like, and
there's
I found
aspects
myself
of consciousness here in this physical
right.
matter reality.
And actually, what's really cool is when you really think about just that axis, X, Y, but really the horizontal line is me in the world. But living well means if I know I'm not entirely of it, like I'm
Mm-hmm.
here in my, which is something Jesus said. Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
it all starts to make sense, and it's funny because I when I hear Tom now in his interviews, it's like he used to think that this was just like one way of seeing it, and now he's like, no,
Right.
this is the way. And
Yeah.
it's like one truth spoken in many different ways. But now when I get so excited when I read the Kabbalah or the Bible, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's all right here. Like we
Yeah.
totally misinterpreted.
Right.
I get so excited, but I also feel like it's okay to be where we are. Like, and I think today, like what I wanted to do too, and it came to me in a dog walk this morning, but I was like, I
Mm.
think it's really helpful to be like, if like we can create the space today to be totally non-judgmental. Like
Yeah.
you and me and then people listening and where they're at. And I almost feel like it's so helpful to use nature because like the metamorphosis of a butterfly, it's like maybe we can identify where we're at, but maybe we can't. But a caterpillar is no better than a butterfly. So like when someone's awakened entirely, maybe you're vibrating like Jesus and Buddha, you're 1,000, it's like they will be the first ones to say you and I are the same. Like we're all
Right.
part of this, we're this one.
Yes.
And it's so interesting because I think when we're at these lower levels of consciousness and we're in our ego, we're quick to kind of look for what's wrong. In
For
fact,
sure.
seek to destroy. The ego is seek and never find. It's like we are experiencing ourselves as victims and powerless. And actually,
Yes.
I wanted to hold up this like themes of like it's like an elevator of consciousness. I wanted to show you this picture because I mean I just want to almost like when we're
Okay.
experiencing ourselves down here, it's we're still us. Like we can have these moments,
Yes.
but
The
it's
full
like
spectrum. Like we can
right,
be the full spectrum. Yeah. It's a
right.
matter
And
of where we put
oh,
our attention.
I like thinking of it as an elevator of consciousness that I can go up and down all day long. So even
Mm-hmm.
though I've had peak experiences, I'm still a
Yeah.
thinker. Like I can still make myself sick,
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I actually was cleaning up my office this morning and I found this picture and it made me laugh because I haven't seen it for so long. But it was me in Africa and I'm going to see if the light. So you can't really see me, but I'm actually this person. I'm backwards, but I'm
Okay. Are you in the water?
that is the class 4 rapid, the Zambezi River in
Oh my,
Africa, like
you
between.
brave
Anyways, I
soul.
wanted to share this because I think like my life for a while, we kind of grow up. I grew up on a farm. I had like there were times in my life where I would tell this story and I would feel like a victim.
Mm,
Now I don't see it that way at all. So my story just
right.
keeps changing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's as though it's like if, when I went to Africa with these friends, we climbed Mount Kenya and there's this like this idea that when we're climbing, we choose a route, you have to acclimate, so you climb slowly and you kind of get to where you're going. And I almost feel like this is a good metaphor today for our lives because when we're at the bottom and we're in the trees and we know dark woods of error as dark Dante calls them, it's like we can't see where we're going. So to have an experience today of just getting up, and I call my ministry tree line because I like the idea of like when we get above where the trees don't grow anymore, we're a certain altitude, we can have a certain perspective on our lives, that we see things that we wouldn't normally see in our day-to-day lives. So I love that idea of like, and not being a coach or a teacher anymore, which is interesting, like kind of what I did in my back, days. I became a teacher and a coach. It's like, no, not that. I'm kind of a guide on the side. So I kind of imagine myself as like a spiritual Sherpa, like doing some quiet, like I'm in the background. I'm not in your pictures. I try not to be. It's like, I just want to help people see this other piece of who they are, because all we're really immersed in is this fearful mindset, right? We grow up in it, and I was so in it, and I still can get caught up.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot that continues to perpetuate it too. Like if you pay attention to media, depending on who you surround yourself with, you can get it from the outside as well as all the stuff internally.
And we have a knowing, like I think we're born with this knowing. And I once had a teacher say to me, and it made me get teary, it's like, what's deepest in you is love. And I really didn't know what the word love meant. And I think my whole life for the last decade's been like, what is love? And even the course that I teach is like, love is not something we can actually grasp. It's beyond our FBI clearance. Like we're here. We can become aware of the blocks to our awareness of its presence in our life, but we can't actually. And that's what Buddha taught too. It's like, let's look at our suffering. Let's look at our entropy. Let's see where we're tripping ourselves up. And so, but if you had told me this in the trees at the bottom of the mountain before we started climbing, I'd be like, what are you talking about, Donna? Like, you're speaking nonsense.
Yes.
This is what happened. This is true. And it was true for me.
This
and
is what they're doing to me. And this is how I'll never get out of this.
It's so true. And it's like why we can't judge each other. And I think why biblically it's like you're forgiven. It's like
ourselves
until we see that. It's almost like our children, we go shopping, they go boneless in the candy aisle, like we're saying no, but we're not mad, like we're not judging them. It's a stage of development. And that's why I love the metamorphosis. It's like when I'm a caterpillar and I'm consuming and I'm afraid and I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like I don't know that the end is that I'm going to be flying. Or I often keep, I don't know where they are right now, but I keep an acorn on my desk because I just love that line. And I think it's Aristotle's word, that entelechy, like it's the entelechy of the acorn to become an oak tree. It's a natural process that we're all in right now. And it just really helps us relax. And the next piece is that acorn, when you look at it, it's not just a tree, it's an entire forest, the potential. And I actually wear this to remind me, it's a biblical reminder that this is like, it's a mustard seed. It makes one of the largest organisms, like growing weeds. It just grows, but it's the tiniest seed. And there's reference to that. So it's kind of like, I think at the bottom of the mountain. And I just wanted to say, like, until I really ran across the secret, I didn't realize I had anything to do with what I was experiencing. And what I experienced was like, it felt like this. Like I felt like I was almost like stuck though in the mud, that I had all this stuff. I should be happy. I was educated. I'm a woman in the West. And I remember getting the Globe and Mail and having this like 2-page pullout, which I've kept somewhere. And it's basically saying that like at the time, and I don't know what year it was, maybe 2008, it's like they rated the top 20 countries in the free world or and whatever that is. It's like for like, maternity leave, education, freedom, like, and guess what Canada was?
5.
It was number 1. And so I
still really
cried because I was depressed. I was at home with my kids and I just couldn't, I had no real reason. And here I am, like, I have all this opportunity. And I think we often feel that we have everything we need, but yet we feel like we don't. Like there is no better place to live than in the West.
And what perpetuates that is the ego, right? And it plays with our fears. And when you were speaking of the metamorphosis and like the butterfly, I think it's the dragonfly specifically, but the when they do undergo the transformation, they literally have to drop their head first. So it's like, I find it such an interesting metaphor. It's like to drop your head, like to just drop the ego, right? Like in order to go into that chrysalis and then come out.
It's funny you say that. I've never said this out loud, but I used to imagine wanting to unscrew my head. and
Mm.
like take it off because I was so mental. And
Yeah.
I ended up so depressed. And I remember it was 2014 and I like literally the bottom was that I didn't want to be here. But I just
Mm.
also was in so much debt. Like I didn't see a way
Yeah.
out. I felt hopeless. So I was way at the bottom of that, like maybe shame, guilt, judgment. It's like the
Yeah.
lowest. But I felt like something was wrong with me. And I think that's what happens to us. We end up focusing. I focused my
Those are
way
the
down
false
there.
beliefs. Yeah.
Right, with the
Yeah.
ego running. So the ego
Yeah.
speaks first and loudest, which is kind of always the same. And it's like seek and never find. So it's like the more that we focus on that, the
We just
like
perpetuate it.
right.
And it would just, we
Exactly.
could, like a hamster wheel, like we could just
Yes.
run there
Yeah.
indefinitely until we
And
choose to step off.
exactly. Or
And we might get back on the wheel, but then we
yes.
can remember that we can step
Yes.
off, and we keep just
And
like
yeah.
stepping off until you don't get on anymore. Like
Right. And
just get rid of the
I
wheel.
always, this is the question I have today is like, maybe it's okay that we're both like, oh, after like that human being idea of like, we're beings, we're human. And actually, I
Mhm.
went in further, like a fractal. I was like, well, what does the word human even mean? And there's words like, if you break apart man, it's Sanskrit for thinker. And Hugh is
Mm.
actually in some like, it's the divinity in us. So it's like, oh my
Okay.
gosh, it doesn't matter how small you make this,
I also think of hue as like color, which is light.
a hue of light. That's beautiful. And I think so like A Course in Miracles is an example, like Tom's work, it's like the first half of this giant book is like undoing a thought system based in
Yes.
fear and then implanting one in love. And so it's like our
Mhm.
work as we show up is to be like to teach us to demonstrate it. So like,
Yes.
and the fruits that we see are basically how are we doing? Like, are we
Yeah,
having
that's the feedback.
yeah, that's it. And
Yeah.
it's so simple and we complicate it.
Yeah.
Complexity is of our ego, right? That's another thing.
Yes.
And Tom talks
Oh
about
yeah. Yeah, because distraction, like, sure, let's get caught up in all of this, except like, and not look at what we're supposed to be looking at. That will really help us grow and evolve. And I
and
love that.
the
So the Course of Miracles, you're saying the first part of the book is like
yeah, well, I
dealing with,
mean, it's a text in a workbook. There's like a
right,
daily, but
right.
it's so my ego hated this book because it's religious language. It's so confronting. It's so easy not to read. It's so easy not to
Mhm.
meditate. It's so easy not to want to see this. And it's like, it's really self-preservation. The ego is like, it's
Yes.
just an energy aware of itself in the sense of like, it is us and it's also divine. So like, I'm not
Yeah.
sure the whole Ryan Holiday, like ego's the enemy. It's like, no, it's really a part of creation. So it's like, oh, we're experiencing ourselves in polarity. So it's like, I love that. I actually heard yesterday in Judaism, which is making a comeback because of that TV show. No one wants
I
this or
love
whatever.
it.
But it's like the word Satan that we use, like Satan,
Mhm.
is actually just opponent. Like it's like a
Mm.
counterpoint. So that
Right.
when I suffer, if I'm feeding ego and it's getting bigger and stronger, and I suffer. So it's like,
Yeah.
wow. And even the word evil, it's funny. Like it actually, I realized this myself. I didn't even read it anywhere, but I'm like, oh, guess what? It's live backwards. So we're living backwards. We've actually
That's
created
amazing.
this
Yeah.
energy of like, and so the
Yeah.
big thing about the course that I love is it's non-dual, meaning that like what's all encompassing. So when I say the word love, has no opposite. So there is nothing else. So that means
Mm.
everything is is love, right? So it's like even when I think I'm experiencing something like a canceled flight, it's like I'm in the trees. I don't see the big picture. So I
Mhm.
can start to trust and
Yeah.
show up and be
Yes.
loving. And it's like the other poster right now that I'm like behind you because it's on my door is
Yeah.
it's a golden rule. And maybe I'll send you the picture after, but Hinduism, Buddhism, it's like the golden rule in every religion, every faith, including native spirituality, Zoroastrianism,
Yeah.
Islam, Baha'i. It's like this is the same in all of them. And
Right.
one of the things I love about Tom is he's basically saying these spiritual things that we've known for a long time, but it's
Yeah.
so helpful to our rational material.
Yes. He just lays it out logically.
Right.
Yeah.
I got so excited because I bought this book. Do you know
Actually,
Dan
can I
Brown?
just on
Oh,
in
yeah.
1 second, because you were speaking about like ego and like,
Yes.
yeah, fear, or sorry, evil, and like how Tom would describe or define ego is just so if consciousness is awareness with a choice, he defines
Yeah.
ego as awareness in service to fear. So
Yeah.
it's like it's not an evil thing. It's just like it's awareness serving fear. So then it brings in the idea of free will and that we have a choice. So are you
Love
going to choose love or are you going to choose fear? And in terms of like good and evil, it's in what I feel, if I kind of am extracting, like using MBT or Tom's framework as a framework to extract this out of, it's like evil is really, there isn't like good or evil, but the evil is just in service to fear, or it's like high entropy choices. So like there's really no good, bad, right or wrong, right? Like if you're making the choice, the right choice would essentially be the lowest entropy choice for all long term.
Right.
And then evil could be like, it's not evil, it's just like you're making very high entropy choices that are affecting the whole as well.
And once we really get and embody that, it's like, it's a real safari, because then we can realize that our minds are creating like what our perceived reality. So if that is true, and even if we don't believe it, but we're willing to see it, which is what I did with The Secret. And I think I'll just tell a couple stories, because I think the stories really like just cut through the idea of like a kind of theology or a scientific description. It's like, how does this actually work for us?
So the Secret was essentially like, so when you say it showed you how you were co-creating with this reality, is that what you're saying?
I think
or like
I hadn't had a conscious experience of me manifesting. I was like in the bottom, climbing up, maybe not even at Camp One, where I was like, I remember there was no self-help section, but I was entertaining it. Like I literally, Robin Sharma, who's like an author, he's got lots of books now on self-help, like The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari was one of his first hits. Like I called him and he met me in to go for coffee.
Really?
Like, it was like, so it's like, I think like this has grown where those of us that have reached for self-help been like, I know there is something more. Like, I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. So you're just like, you've been seeking truth.
Right.
Yeah.
So
always.
whether we're reaching for alcohol and drugs and food, which food has been like my greatest teacher in my body and pain. And that's like a whole other story. But I think in 2006, it was poignant because I started to play and have fun, which is kind of what I've come full circle back to it. Because for a while, like I got everything I wanted, and I'll tell a couple stories, but then it didn't necessarily make me happy, which comes back to ego. It's like it wants you to reach outside yourself for these things, but it's so fun to see that like now I can manifest differently. I don't even use that word, because really creation is like when I'm aligned, like every morning, if I get up and get out in nature, it's like once I align to this power, I'm no longer in fear. It's so, and so like the one right away. So I watched the movie, The Secret.
Okay.
This is so cheesy. Like my mind was like, oh, but then part of me was like, what if it's true? Like, wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't it be fun if?
Okay.
And so I went
ahead. Open-minded skepticism.
Right. Because I struggled with my food. It was like almost Halloween. And when it came out, when I watched it, and I think I'd gotten on the scale and I'd been upset because I've been like trying to lose weight. had kids. Anyways, that whole thing, I was caught up in the fearful thinking around bodies and how I should look. And I was just all in. So I wrote down in my journal 3 things. I wrote down, number 1 was like, okay, Secret, like if I'm going to let this happen, I'm like, I want to lose 40 pounds. I don't want to pay another cent to the diet industry. Like I'm done. I don't want to go on another diet. I can't. And the third thing was we'd gone up north. We'd had come up to Collingwood. We lived in Toronto. I really wanted to, our kids were really little, but I thought, wouldn't it be fun? We'd visited friends if we could join a ski hill and rent a farmhouse or something and come up in the winter. So number 3 was, and I'm at home, so I have no income. So I'm like, wouldn't it be fun if I earned $10,000? I figured that's at the time what it would be in the early 2000s. So I put that out, like I literally wrote it in my journal. And this is like at 5 a.m. I mean, I'd already been going to the gym, but I mean, I'm like, okay, I'm going to look for signs today. So I want to do these 3 things, like lose 40 pounds, not spend any money on diet, earn $10,000. So I go to the gym. This is literally a half an hour later. There's only like one other woman there. I'm sitting, and I had actually been teary. Like there's even on my journal, like I kept the page, it's like blurry. Because I was so frustrated, and we get caught up in our lives and we're doing something we don't want to do. And it's like, we can't change ourselves. So it's that like desperation almost. But I'm like, okay, stop, Nona, stop thinking about it, do this and let it go. So I'm thinking, well, I hear something on the radio. And he was like, get to the gym. I sit down on a bike and I'm like basically the only one there. Another woman comes and sits beside me. This is what she says to me. She's like a little bird of a thing. She's also a lesbian, which is a totally other story. Like, it was kind of neat because she was like befriending me and like probably wondering if I was, which sounds funny. But at the time I always liked her. Like, she was there. She was like just showing up. She was this tiny bird of a thing, but like really powerful, always working out. She's like, Nona, I see you here all the time. She's like, I thought of you this morning because I just got a new job as a vice president at this sports, like it's like a nutritional company.
Okay.
And they're hiring women to lose weight. She's like, you don't really have to lose that much, but you'd have to lose weight. And I was like, yes, I do. And I'm like, this is so weird. Like, my mind won't accept that she's actually offering it up. And so, short story long, basically, she's like, well, they've already chosen everyone, but why don't you send me your pictures today? I'll see if I can get you in. And so I did that. And then within a week, I'm like standing, doing before shots, like, but then she said, yeah, like they'll pay you $5,000. And I was like, what? I'm like, they'll pay me money to lose weight. Like, then I go to the company and she's like, okay, everyone's already signed the contracts. So I go to get my contract at the desk. They've already signed it. She's like, just sign it, read it, like leave your copy and go, like after the pictures. So I do that and I sign it. As I'm looking and reading over the fine print, it's going to pay me $10,000. They're giving me a trainer. This is like a week after I wrote those 3 things down. So I'm having an experience of, oh my gosh, they mistakenly gave me the wrong contract. This was from last year. Everyone else is getting paid $5,000. I've already signed it. And so have they. So she said to me, she called me from the car. She's like, oh my goodness. Like, well, we're going to honor it if you lose 40 pounds. So in 3 months, I lost exactly 40 pounds, like not a pound more or less. They gave me a trainer. Like, I have a photocopied check for like $12,000. So this is like 4 months after I'm writing down those things. And then I started to play with it. And honestly, Donna, I'm like, it was such a, like, I love Buddha says this too. And I know Tom says it. I don't know if Tom knows that Buddha said it, but it's like, don't believe me, like have your own experience, like go out. Yes. So it was the beginning. And then I realized the spiritual mountaintop, which isn't really what we're all going for. It's like lowering our entropy isn't about really getting what we want, like what we think we want. And it's like, so what I want has changed, but it's naturally with this climb. So it's not like we have
because I think as you evolve your quality of your consciousness, what you want is different, right?
Like, one thing I think we do that's so not compassionate is if I have a deep desire right now, I need to honor it. Like the word desire is Daisy Dari. It comes from the stars. It's like my desires are actually the thing that, if I honor them and I even get what I want, like what's next is like going to come from me. It'll be a feeling. So it's like, that's what's so beautiful about, and it can be a little tiny thing too, when I wanted something, and it says this biblically, but it's like, I didn't really believe it. I kind of think, I know we all kind of argue for our limitations. It just comes from that beautiful place. And I still I still experience fear. I was nervous to come on here today. It's like, another quick example is sometimes when minds are joined and we share something, which is kind of the power of prayer, like this idea of like, I was going to a girlfriend's birthday party with our kids. And I asked, oh, can I bring something? She's like, yeah, can you bring a watermelon? And I was like, oh, sure, no problem. So I take my 2 tiny children, and you know what that's like, to a grocery store, there's no watermelon, to another one, there's like cut up slimy. I'm like, I can't bring that. So then I'm like, this is literally the week after The Secret or whatever. Like, I'm just like, I said, okay. And I get the kids in the car with their open minds. They don't know what I'm doing, but we're sitting there in the parking lot at Loblaws about to go home for dinner. We're not going to another store. I'm like, okay, boys, we're going to the park for Henry's birthday. Like, what's in the wagon? And they're like, a ball, like a Frisbee. And I'm like, okay, we have to bring something to eat. And I know they love watermelon. I'm like, what are we going to bring for food? And they're like, a watermelon. So we're all 3 of us are imagining a watermelon in our wagon, which is happening the next day. But we're not going to go to another store. Like, this is the faith, like that I'm like, done. Thank you. And so we go home and I'm making dinner. And this is like maybe an hour and a half later, the kids are done eating, like they're stripping off naked. And actually the doorbell rings, which is weird because nobody ever comes over this time of night. And I open the door and my mother-in-law is standing there holding a beautiful watermelon. And I'm just like, it's so cool because I got to say, she doesn't know. The kids are jumping up and down saying, you got our message. She's like, oh, did you call? And I was like, no, like she won't understand.
No, telepathically, like consciousness is netted.
Exactly. Like, thank goodness for Kai Dickens, because like telepathy tapes are something we can receive, right? And we're like,
Mm.
it's not just for people with autism. They're just shutting
Yeah.
down that, that intellect. So it's like,
Yes.
we keep getting evidence and then we drop our guards. But the watermelon story for me was like so quick. It was such a quick manifestation that I was just like, huh. But then I used it, and every
your
time
boys were involved, right? Like your
yes,
kids are involved. So it's like, see, like
it's so, and it's like not even that they even really knew, they were too little. But when our minds are joined and we share,
or
it's like
did they
even
exactly know because they were so little
well,
that
maybe they
like,
did.
why
That's
is this
true.
not possible?
So
That
good.
why can I not think that this is how things happen?
Totally. Well, and I think like when I changed, what we wanted, I think sometimes it's the exacting of the coincidence. And again, in math, two angles that coincide are said to fit perfectly together. So, even you and I meeting and being friends, it's like we're helping each other show up in the world to do this work. If I hadn't met you, we wouldn't be talking. I may be more like, keeping all these things inside. But
Yeah.
our creativity is so powerful and potent. And if we're not, sharing our gifts in service, it's like something happens in us where we keep slipping down that elevator of consciousness because we don't feel whole, or, religiously call it holy, but that's whole.
Right.
Being whole means that we're really in our depth dimension, not entirely on the horizontal plane, like totally identified with our ego or small self or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it feels like there can be a block. Like that creative outlet is so important. And like it's interesting that you bring that up because now knowing Tom's work, I have a different understanding of like my youth. And like I used to, like I was a dancer, and so that always kept me in my intuitive, as much as some of it was like performance and choreography, so there's rehearsal, but like I loved the just like the free like modern improv and that kind of thing. But then also like creating art and spending so much time in my room by myself, like just making things. And I was like, because there were things going on in my family, and like it was like not that I was coping, but it was like how I kind of balanced. I feel like to be in that creative space was just I just spent so much time in my intuitive space, and it's beautiful. Like it's beautiful to recognize that I had the space to do that, and that is it's such a it's a wonderful access point or connection point.
There's this great line that I actually found in the course that I ran across, and I was like, oh, this is a doozy. It says, you can wait, delay, paralyze yourself, or reduce your creativity almost to nothing, but you cannot abolish it. It's like we can do this to ourselves. We can really paralyze ourselves with fear, which is one of the things, right? It's like, and there's no pressure. We have free will to see this.
Yeah.
We can, and that's why I think too, the other part of this that's so helpful is like people don't really want to be changed. Like our children, our spouses, like they just want to be loved. And it's like once we really get the depth of this message, scientifically or otherwise, it shifts everything. So it's interesting. It's like creating this app called The Shift, and the shift, like meaning from fear to love, but it's really like getting, like first meeting in a field of consciousness that's like, I love that Rumi quote. It's like between our ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there's a field, I'll meet you there. It's like, let's just put everything here, not judge each other, not especially ourselves, show up with whatever desire we have, like not make it wrong, not be like, well, that's money, that's wrong. It's like we have all these ideas and beliefs that we are deconstructing. And I think Tom really talks about that. It's like, in the course, it says that words are symbols of symbols twice removed from reality. Reality, big R reality being like that we're this energetic field. And so it's so interesting that, and I love, sometimes Shakespeare will point to it. He'll be like, and I think if I said the word God, and I've both agreed that in times in the past, it's kind of triggered us because it's sort of the religious old man in the cloud concept. It's like, that's not the God I believe in, but, a rose by any other name, Shakespeare said, would smell as sweet. So it doesn't matter what we call this thing that is the source, the primary organizing principle, but just knowing that we're in it, that it is us. So, we mistakenly pray. I just, my brother just texted me. He's up for this really big CEO job, and it's him and one other guy. And, he's like, oh, help me manifest this. And it's like, oh God, like, it's like the reason why I want to show up and talk about this is because it all comes from us. Like I can't, I can maybe, manipulate or change or help, but it's like really understanding that our power is entirely in us. that it is
Mhm.
us that we're looking for, and to stop looking outside ourselves. And I think
Right.
sometimes that's why even today doing a practice, it's like maybe setting them all down for a minute and going in, and it's like the still small voice, or that quiet place. When I hear Tom now say, "Oh, I don't meditate anymore," it's like, oh, but here's the thing: when I'm a caterpillar, I might need to meditate. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and so, but
Yes.
I feel is that
Yes.
we get to these different stages. So sometimes we hear other people say, "What? Don't meditate," and then we don't have the experience. So, but it's
Yeah.
like
No, we
doing
have to acknowledge that
right,
we're all on this path and we are
right,
all in different places. We all came in with different missions. We've chosen different things, right? There's different
yeah,
levels of entry in our lives. Like, yeah, Tom is not, I don't think that the majority of people have that experience. And
right.
like, but like, kudos to him, appreciation for him for coming back into this
I love how
reality and
he normalizes
contributing.
it. Yeah, like for us
Yeah.
to see
Yes.
that, like he's just, well, people call him uncle, but he's kind of like your grandfather I always wanted. He's just like us, and kind of like what prophets do, right? They come and
Yes.
like, you're just
Yeah.
like me. And I think we go the wrong way with it sometimes, where we start to worship the prophet. It's like they're just helping us across the river to get to the other side, and it's like
Hmm.
we just need to listen to ourselves and be like, what
Yeah.
actually resonates? And I think everyone here that's listening, I'm imagining that, science is part of the story for you. And it's like, that's great.
Hmm.
But then also to know that it's never going to be, that is never the thing, right? It's pointing to something that
Hmm.
it's not trying. It's like,
Yeah.
so that was
It's
the
all
difference.
metaphor,
Right. And
right?
even the
Like,
secret. So I think the criticism, which is probably valid, is that it was really based on like us being at lower levels, high entropy levels, lower levels of consciousness, wanting. So we're creating this gap. So when I was
right.
a life coach, it was very much like you would go in and look at your life, and there would be a pie chart, and you'd rate it like 1 to 10,
Yeah.
or you would create the gap. And we called it
Yeah.
an integrity gap between where you are, maybe you're here, and where you want to be. Like, and
Mhm.
that this is where, anxiety and depression live. Like, we need to close that gap. So we need to try
Right.
harder and do our things. And these are the things, and this is how you do it. So like, wow, right? Like
Yeah.
we're always a little, or like this idea of like the tension between a string of like, here we want to be and here we are, and look, let's keep it taut so we're
Mhm.
always growing. But
Yeah.
it's like, no, let's just like, that's one way to look at it,
Yeah.
is the
So,
first way. We're trying hard and we get our minds going and we plan. And
yeah.
when I would read a line in low, when I was in a lower place, it's like when I'd read the course, it didn't make sense to me. Like, what do you
Mhm.
mean that planning is a sign of an unhealed mind? I'm like, what does that make no sense? I love my daytime. I'm like, what? So I would reject it. But now
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like time is a learning device. So is my body. It's like softening and seeing, what Tom's
Yeah.
saying is true. Like, it
Well, I
is
like
an
that Tom
experience.
focuses a lot on intention, because even when you talk about goals or like
Yeah,
planning and then even like desire, like a lot of those things I kind of bring now into like intention.
right. I
And
love
it's
that
like,
word. Yeah.
yeah, because
Because you're
that
not attached, right?
really it pardon?
And you're not too attached to it.
No, and it's very much at a consciousness level, right? Like it
Yeah,
feels like it's our being level intent. Like because you can, yeah, there's the intellectual planning and yes, we can have goals, but it's also like it's about the connection that we have to ourselves as conscious beings,
so true.
to the system. Um, and
And
I love.
there's sorry, you go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, go
No,
ahead.
I was gonna say
You're
there's
the
a
guest.
beautiful line as you're talking, it's like coming to me. It's just like Jesus actually is saying, like, first seek the kingdom of heaven, which is really that
Mm,
spaciousness, that like the
yeah.
where we're all one, that conscious.
Yes.
So it's like first seek that, then everything will be added onto you. So
Yeah.
like just to give an example now,
Yes.
instead of like I could still have a vision board, whatever, don't judge any of it. But it's like now it's like I'll have the thought, like Guy Dickens is like, somebody's reading
Hmm.
my mind, because I'll have the thought, it's like, oh, we should get our driveway resealed. I'll have
Mm,
that thought on Sunday. On
right.
Tuesday, a father and son from Stainer ring my doorbell. And nobody's ever done that before.
Yeah.
But now when I'm aligned, it's like the
Yes.
universe is
You can
conspiring.
communicate
Right. So
clearly.
there's
Yeah,
no
there
like,
because
there's
there's
no
less
gap.
noise and yeah. Yeah.
It's like it comes to you. So we're never the ones to figure out the how, but the intention is so powerful. And I think he's
Yeah,
so right.
letting
It's
go of
like
the how
without it,
100%.
I wouldn't have gotten the $10,000 or lost 40 pounds. Now, was that ultimate? Did I ever have a weight issue again? I did, because the cause
Right.
was fear, right? So it's
Yes.
like, if I
Okay,
can
this
get
is
to the
interesting.
bottom.
Yes.
Yes. And I think this is so, so key for us to get.
Yes, this is the key piece that I would love to tie it all
Yeah.
together, because
Yeah.
in the way, for anyone who's done like process work with me, done like the becoming love process, this aspect of like there's a step where we really like imagine, visualize, like feel into how we could be without this fear, right? And who how we could show up. And this is part of a process, so it really like goes hand in hand with doing the inner work, and initially like having the courage and the honesty to face whatever it is that's going on under the surface. Because yes, we can be creating, like everything is manifesting all the time, right? Like things are, yeah, it's like it
Yeah.
from Bit, right? Archibald
Yeah.
Wheeler. It's happening. But so if we are consciously doing it, then it is
Mhm.
going to take conscious awareness to
Mhm.
look at where we're actually at.
Mhm.
And when we talk about like our intent at a being level,
Mm.
where are we actually at? Is this action driven by fear or love, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting, because as I have been doing this work for many years, the orchestrations are not as big and loud, but it doesn't mean that there's not still a thought, or
Mhm.
right. And it's
Mhm.
just like, it's really now more for me about paying attention to those really like the subtleties, and
Mhm.
just noticing, oh, you know what, even though this feels like I want to do this for this person, like I really want to do this, but if I'm really looking at it in like underlying intention, or like where I'm actually resonating at the
Mhm.
being level, is like, oh, but this is actually causing me stress because I'm spreading myself too thin because I want to
Mhm.
give so much. And then it's like, it's not
Mhm.
aligned, it's
Yeah.
messy, and it's not actually coming from that. Like when you talk about this clear, aligned place of
Yeah.
love, it's not actually. If I
Mhm.
have the space and the capacity to do that, and I
Yeah.
want to, then it's different. But it's
Mhm.
really interesting to pay attention. And so that's why I feel like
Mhm.
this work, this conscious creating, really it's not the first step. It's part
Mhm.
of a
Yeah.
process. It's part of
It's a
something that
natural,
we
yeah.
are
Yeah.
always doing, right? But
Yeah.
like
So
asking ourselves, wait, but
here's
why am I doing this, or what's the motivation?
mm.
Yeah.
If any good, like A Course in Miracles, any good teacher will draw on this. Like, there's no manifesting in A Course in Miracles. In fact, it says outright, they should, miracles, which is a shift, defined as a shift in our perception. So we
Mm-hmm.
change how we see, and then what we see
Yes.
changes. So they should never be under conscious control. So
Mm-hmm.
conscious manifesting, it's like we're talking about it because that's kind of how the world sees it.
Yeah.
That I want to be more aware and conscious, and then I want to ask for things. So it's like not that at
Mm-hmm.
all. It's like we close the gap where it not like miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. So it's like when I'm
Yeah,
aligned, all my needs are met. There's no
exactly.
fear. The tree keeps giving me apples. I'm not worried about, like I don't
Yeah.
make things such a thing. So I'm not where my focus is. And like I think that's so powerful what you're saying about the practices of awareness. It really is everything
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like being in that almost in the middle of the mountain. So here's the other thing is that's so cool about this and exciting to me is like we're in the trees, we start moving up slowly, maybe we go back down a bit, we don't feel well, we move up, we're in camp 2. That's like, maybe we have like 3D, we're in transformational stages where we're trying and seeking and hoping and trying all these different things to see what feels good for us. And again, not judging, compassionately. I mean, I've done yoga. I've been sitting on mountaintops in India being like, is this it? Like, are you my
Yeah.
mother? It's like, even though I met Tom was synchronistic, I met his daughter and she was like talking about her dad in this like amazing way. And so she was doing an intro to something he was doing. So I watched, I don't even remember her name, but it's like I got exposed to my big toe through
Mm.
his coincidental meeting. So it's like, wow, right? And then what happens next, and we're sort of where I kind of flicker now,
Mm-hmm.
is I'm not at the peak all the time. Like I'm at this like top hut. I love going back down too. I'll let myself go up and down and keep climbing up and down this mountain with other people
Mm-hmm.
on different routes. But I'm like, now I'm carried, like, so in November of 2020, I had this like light-filled, spontaneous like experience that was so mind-boggling that my mouth dropped. I covered my hands. Like I started to cry like for probably 3 days. I was so blissed out. I had what I'd read about, like this just quick taste of what this bliss anon, but this like feeling that I was like, oh my gosh, like this is such an inconvenient truth. Like I had the realization that it was not a change at all. Like this piece of tasting enlightenment or understanding how things work is like, it's a yeah, it's like a realization. It's like it's already here. And when you hear things sometimes in writing, like non-dual teachings are like, it's all here and it's in you. It's like, what? But it is. It's like I'm the same me. I experience myself totally differently. So when the first thing I thought of was like some biblical, like, behold, I make all things new. It's like I was seeing the world. I saw light. Like I was just like, what is happening? I thought maybe I was losing my mind. But what happened for a couple of years was I didn't have a lot of thinking. There was no judgment. I would go to the dog park and throw a ball, and other people's dogs would get the ball and bring it to me.
Yeah.
It was like Snow White. I was like, what is happening? Because I was so in love that I would cry, seeing, like I was like noticing the little things. And so I think what is important is like that was 6 years ago. Am I that same person? Like, no, I've dropped back down the elevator shaft a little bit into fear. Like as I show up, it's like my family would not understand this. Like I tried to share what I was experiencing. Right. And I think that's why this hub is so special and important, because I just didn't have the language. I didn't even know that was normal, that was just part of that I was being lifted to this last peak experience, but then coming back down again, it's like, oh, I was like, this is the most inconvenient truth, that it is our ego that's running. Like the world that we've created is largely based on a thought system, in fear. So I can see that now. And how do we sorry, I don't know if the internet is like cutting in and out, but it's like this allowing nature take its course. So it's like getting, like knowing that even our bodies themselves heal, like stop picking.
Yeah. And there's a balance there with, like Tom speaks to, in terms of like when we find out that we can really create our reality, then ideally, like if we've actually raised our quality of consciousness, then like we know that we can, but we don't actually, because we want to continue, like in order to maintain low entropy, you need to continue to put effort into it, right? And it's like the goal then is to live gracefully with uncertainty, is what Tom says, right? So it's like if you control everything, then you're not learning, and so then then if you're not learning, then you do like kind of go downhill. So
it's such a good
interesting
point.
one. It's a balance. Yeah.
And I'm seeing now that, like, back to that, like horizontal and vertical, it's like where those two meet, what I call is like God's time. It's like the now moment. If I get too far in the horizontal, thinking ahead and planning, it's fear, and I'm like not in the moment, or behind and I'm depressed. It's like when I'm aligned and you and I are talking, like I couldn't be any happier than I am right now. Like there's nothing that I could do outside myself. Get off this call. It's like it makes me want to cry that I feel that way now. And it's like I get that it's this feeling that is actually what's summoning energy into form of whatever's going to happen next is going to come from my mind. But it's not, I no longer am in fear, so I don't need things. There's no gap that I'm creating with goals. But the intention, the big piece of this is like the higher we kind of go up, sometimes it is a feeling of like what I felt that day was a bit of fear and overwhelm, because I felt safe, but I was like, what is this? It's like it's stretching us to have a different concept of who we are.
In terms of this process that we, in the Becoming Love process, where at first we like uncover the fears and false beliefs and stuff, then like using this practice of visualization, feeling into that who we want to be, it is like there is no gap, but we are like stepping into it. And so the more that we practice it, and like in meditation, right? And even just, actually, I want to bring up Joe Dispenza has work around this, right? That proves this. But yeah, it's like, so for example, there's a challenging situation that I am faced with. And if I do my own work, harmonize within myself, like I really make the choice to let go of that fear and show up in love. But then I am visualizing, and I'm like more than visualizing. I am putting myself in that space, right? Like I'm getting a data stream of this experience where I am feeling it, feeling the embodied experience of what it's like to show up in love. And as I do this, it is a practice. I am practicing. It's almost like a rehearsal, but then it like you were speaking to, because sometimes we need, it's like there's like, it's foreign to us. So if we are practicing it just in the non-physical, we are practicing it, then when we are doing it here in the physical, it's not new, it's not foreign, it doesn't feel weird to us, and we can stay connected to that alignment of love and not be pulled into potential like fear hooks that other egos are throwing out, right?
Yes, it's such a good point. And I've had these like
bridging a gap, but it's like just stepping into that.
Yeah.
And actually, and I just wanted to speak about the Joe Dispenza piece for a second.
Yeah.
He's shared, actually I printed some out because there's research that he's done. There's like, they did a study with people who learning to play piano, and yeah, I'm going to read this for 1 second. So because this speaks to like mental rehearsal, so like imagination and feeling into this. This is like the conscious creation we're talking about, but we're talking about consciously creating, showing up in love, not consciously creating material objects or controlling others or external forces, right? So this Joe Dispenza references this. I think it's in his Becoming Supernatural, his book. So there were people who were non-piano players, and they were put into two groups, and one group practiced like playing the piano 2 hours a day for 5 days. And then another group just mentally rehearsed the same thing without ever touching the piano. And then they did scans, and it showed that both groups developed similar new neural connections in the brain's motor region. So the group of not even touching the piano. So, and then the other one that he speaks to is, right, they were doing like muscle studies. So participants who merely imagined flexing a muscle rather than actually doing any physical exercise over several weeks increased muscle strength by 20 to 22%, and then compared to the 30% by the physical exercise. But basically it shows that mental rehearsal alone can change the body, which is the physical, right?
Which is so huge. Yeah. And Joe has been, I mean, informed a lot of my work, and early on, especially. And I will just say, like Einstein's point when he said, you know, imagination is more important than knowledge, because it is that unscrewing our head piece. And when we imagine, you know, in our minds, like this shared mind doesn't know the difference between what's real or what's imagined. We also, like, we're just showing ourselves with placebos.
Even like real isn't, that's another thing, but like what's real and what's not, like what's happening in this physical matter reality versus
material. I'm imagining, we all think it's just material.
Yeah.
And I think because it's like, that's kind of been what we've been like fighting against. But placebos alone or epigenetics is like, you know, it's, if I have the breast cancer gene, like if I believe that I'm more, like, it is true. And in fact, some of the things I'm most uncomfortable showing up that I'm filled with fear is metaphysics takes it to a whole new level where, you know, not only do we create disease in our bodies, we can heal quickly when we get this, but it's like, we spend 24 billion on cancer. Like, we're looking the wrong way.
Yes,
so, but the sooner we realize it, the better. And I was so excited. I was going to tell you this earlier, but like, I picked up a book from my father-in-law, loves Dan Brown, you know, like Angels and Demons, Da Vinci Code. He's always like this, like uncovering this scandalous thing. And Secret of Secrets, guess what it's about? Noetic science. So his doctor girlfriend studies consciousness. So she's written this book that they're trying to, you know, CIA is trying to kill her because she's like uncovering this, like it's in our zeitgeist now that like consciousness is non-local. Like it's not in our brain.
It's fundamental.
It's fundamental. I love that we said that again, and remind, because I love watching near-death experiences on YouTube. It's like if I'm feeling a little disconnected from source. And I think there's a big thing in you know, we always talk about we're separate from source. So in the course, I'll just keep using that as a reference, but it's like we think we have a lot of problems, or you think you have a problem in a relationship or in money. It's like we really only ever have one, and that's our separation from this source. So that's it. And everything else is like part of the game. And it's like, and of course there's compassion when something happens. Like, it's like, of course we can cry and feel and be in, you know, it's almost like how you watch a movie. I don't know what you don't have teenagers yet, but like when we go to the movies, there's like, I think there's a few different ways we can live, a few different ways we watch a movie. And one is you go to the movie and like, you'd have somebody saying none of it's real, like this is stupid, like
Okay.
Star Wars, that
Total
can't
skeptical.
the last time. It's like they're not even really enjoying the movie. It's like their brain's like, what's wrong with this?
They're
So
closed off.
They're just
to it,
negative.
really, ultimately.
Yeah, it's like there's never a good movie. Everything that's just like this popcorn's cold. Okay. Another way is you go to the movies and you let yourself get really caught up in it. Like you cry, you experience like, oh, you're in it. You forget where you are. Like when the lights go on, you're like, oh yeah, that's a movie. Like you really like get swept away and enjoy every moment of it. And the other way is that you think it's so real that you start having nightmares. So you leave the movie theater and you watch a horror movie because you want to feel something, and then you can't, it's still with you. You don't realize it's not real. So it's like, I love this sort of metaphor for life. It's like, we can be in it, love it, not be too attached, and like have intentions, hold them loosely, have fun, feel
experience it, and then let the lights come on.
That's it. When something snags us, it's for us. It's like, and if it doesn't feel right, we have a knowing, even if our teachers or, somebody, a parent has said something, but it doesn't feel right. It's like building that attitudinal muscle, like where we start to sense that we have this knowing that we can trust. And I think that's what, maybe going back to the secret, it's like, bought a house, wanted glass railing, like it came to me. So that story is so good, but I know we don't have to tell
like the exact size glass panels. Like where does that come from?
And I got an email. It's like, it's so cool. And even I wanted to go to Tahiti, and within 3 months, like we were on the beach and I was looking at the picture I had put in my office. It's like having some of those is so good for us. And actually biblically, it's like, don't ask for signs. But Joe Dispenza used to say this, and I wrote it down because I loved it. In the movie What the Bleep, he was like, whenever you put something into the condom field, because he talks to the field, it's like, so show like, me a sign today. Yeah, show me that I have no doubt that it comes from you. And actually, maybe everyone wants to try it. It's like, just show me a sign. It's like you're having this dance conversation. And it's like that I have no doubt that it comes from you, that it makes me laugh out loud. Like it's such a coincidence that I know that I'm on the right track. It's like having that is kind of for me now, instead of having to do a practice or do what somebody's telling me to do. Like I get up at, like I have for probably 20 years, get up at 4:30. I don't have an alarm. So whenever I wake up, I strip down naked, get in the hot tub, get out in nature. It's like, that's my way. Or like listen to A Course in Miracles, like workbook, whatever you do, or you sit down and meditate. It's like this still small voice. Like there is a guiding principle that gets stronger in us. And we hear it like when we shut our pie holes and just allow like something to come more to us.
Well, like the system does, like in Tom's, I guess Tom has different language, but it's the same thing that Joe Dispenza is talking about, right? Like, and so he speaks about how like the system is there to support us, and that like it will give us little signs and little things to like wake us up or to like nudge us on the right. I've had so many scenarios where that it's like I'm like I've dipped for a bit and I'm and then there's this experience of like, oh, I totally just saw this energy, and then I talked to this person. It was this, like we just had non-physical experience together. I'm like, okay, and then it just kind of like keeps you. It reignites that spark.
It's like you're in awe again. And I think what we don't do is when we are not getting the results that we imagine we want. Like when we get a little caught up in the thinking of the world and we feel like we're not where we should be, or we're not accepting, we have pain in our body. Like instead of beating ourselves up, I love this idea of having like a bit of a compassionate inquiry. Instead of even ever saying I'm in pain, it's like I'm having sensations in my body. And so I had this
recognize,
really cool
acknowledge.
Go ahead. Also, when our minds are closed, like I had this experience where I went to South America and I had my hips replaced, both of them, and I experienced chronic pain, which was part of my stopping. So anyone could look at my life, like at the lower parts of the mountain, and be like, it was hard. I was in pain. I couldn't walk. So it's like I wasn't able to do what I was doing. I used to do Ironmans and run marathons. It's like that was my identity was tied up with my body and how I looked. So that was part of like, this is part of my story, but it's really so powerful. And I'm so glad that I had those surgeries, because I would be having this conversation. Like I totally
like maybe you needed something to help you stop identifying with the Iron
body.
Mans and all the,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I still do that, like, as we age and like getting gray hair, it's like,
Mhm.
you know, I can tell now, I am aware without judging anybody that coloring my hair would be done out of fear. And sometimes it's
Yeah.
expression, creative expression, but you know, I
Yeah.
think I drive by the high school here in town and like all the girls have pink hair. So it's like stops being a unique expression. We just
Yeah.
put it in. Like,
Right.
so it's like really looking at what we do in a
Yes.
loving way with
Yeah.
compassionate heart and be like, okay, this is like all coming in a way, but it's also there's factors that come from the world too.
Yeah.
So if I were to get cancer tomorrow, I mean, it's okay, and we'll figure out what's
Mhm.
next. But it's like
Yeah.
it's not necessarily. I'm not blaming entirely myself. That be like,
No,
oh,
and the loving perspective, like, is what allows us to be honest, right? It's
right,
like it
yeah,
it
and I
still
think that's
takes courage, but like it takes less courage if you know you're going to be met with love. So if we can hold that space for ourselves, like if we
yeah,
can have the capacity to love and accept ourselves, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, I can see this. I can be real with myself that like this is where I'm at. But
yeah,
it doesn't need to pull me down. I don't need to judge it. I just need to
mhm,
be with it. And
yeah, and
and I
that's
had
so big.
I had actually like recently just like in doing, like I love having these conversations, right? And I love seeing life through this lens. And also, I'm sorry if there's any noise. I think you summoned those driveway pavers because they
Yes,
literally showed up. Like and if you hear noise, they've been here for like 10 minutes. I'm like,
that's
where did this
good.
come from? I don't know what's going on, um but yeah, I had this experience of the ego can be sneaky or just like likes to just kind of throw things and like see if you'll take the bait. And so I in my noticing, like we were speaking to the subtleties and just like the
Mhm,
awareness that I've cultivated, I could hear that, like that it threw something out that was like, well, like, wow, like you sure have a lot of fear. And
mm,
I was like, yeah, okay. But
mhm,
like actually I have like the intention to
mhm,
choose love, and I have the ability to have like I have the ability to see the fear and
mm,
then make a choice. And so I have it's like, okay, sure, I could let it like start to wind this intricate web of like, oh, all the fears, and you're not actually doing the work, or it's like,
mhm,
no, like I'm not going to go there. Like if I'm here to grow up, then like I got to have stuff to help me grow up. And
mhm.
every lesson that I learn helps me like see the bigger picture more clearly, right? And
Exactly.
really have like an understanding in this personal experience. Well,
Mm,
like if I'm in the movie and I'm like feeling it, right?
mm,
Then it allows me to then embody that choice of love and
mhm.
even more. And even speaking to the experience piece, I love that you brought that up, because sometimes, I mean, we like it's this, right? Like we did come here for this
It
experience, and
is.
we have
Yeah,
emotions, right? And
yeah.
so even now, and it's like I don't have to, sometimes I have
Mm,
to, not sometimes, I believe that or I feel that it's important to let ourselves feel, even if I
mm,
can already kind of see like past it. It's like, you know what, I have to let this emotion just move through my body.
mhm. Big
I've
time.
already kind of transmuted the, like I see the false beliefs and the fear, and I'm moving through it, but it's still something that like I need to process in
Yeah.
order to really really get through it, and
I think
that's
that yeah.
okay.
I think that's why sometimes, like, when you run into, like, hardcore Advaita Vedanta, like, some of the non-dual teachings, they just seem really cold, and it's like,
Mm.
I think we're missing the point. It's almost like how fundamental Christians or atheists is like they're polar opposites. I think enlightenment comes in the middle, and it's like
Yeah.
we can experience ourselves in all kinds of different situations. But yeah, like
Mhm.
becoming love is like almost like a return to love. It's like we
Yeah.
came in as love, we'll go out as source. It's like the other piece to this that I find really, really powerful is like when Tom talks about us being individuated units of consciousness, it's like, so there's this quantum field, this consciousness that we split off. And I often joke, like, if it was a key lime pie, like we're a little sliver of that. Like, so we're made in the image and likeness of that pie. Like we
Yeah.
actually are it, but it's kind
Yeah.
of like a wave saying I'm the ocean. It's like, it's true and it's not. Like you're just
Yes.
a wave. And
Depends how you look at it. Yeah.
so it's like that's biblical. It's in A Course in Miracles. Tom talks about those examples. I love when he talks about the maze in one of the books. It's been a while, but like we want to get the cheese. and
Oh, right.
routes, and we need to take some wrong turns to find the cheese.
Yeah.
Also, like what we're telling ourselves about how we're getting to the cheese, like all of that doesn't really matter. And actually, I mean, I really want to finish off like this one story that actually literally happened to me that really
Beautiful.
showed
Okay.
me. Yeah.
We'll sum it up with this.
Okay, this story is like, so when I was a little girl on the farm, we didn't have a lot of books anymore. We had Animal Kingdom books, and there was these books, and I love the giraffes, and I thought I'm going to Africa someday. I was probably 7 or 8, so I was like, I'm gonna go. Anyway, sure enough, first thing, I coincidentally, through Teachers College, got to go to Africa to go to this teachers conference in Nairobi, like for free. And I'm there. Of course, I see a giraffe. First thing, it looks right at me. I cry. But then I backpacked around down to South Africa from Kenya. I taught in Uganda. When I got down to Malawi, it was the rainy season, meaning that like the animals weren't really in the parks. But I set up my little Eureka tent under a tree. I only saw 2 other people in the park. But earlier that day, I'd seen hippos in the river. And I was taking an anti-malarial that's coincidentally off the market now. And it's mefloquine, because one of the side effects is paranoia. But it's like I had to take it to teach. So anyways, I know I'm like paranoia. I might be paranoid. But so somebody just told me that hippos kill more tourists every year than any of the other big 5 animals. But I'd seen hippos in the river. Just giving you a little background. So I, of course, lying in bed, fall asleep. I wake up, I have to go pee. I have to pee really badly, but I can hear something outside my tent. And sometimes you hear a squirrel and it sounds like really big, but it wasn't. It was like snorting, and something was outside. Like it was big. And I was like, oh my goodness, why did I come here? I was like shaking, and I was like, no, relax. But I had to pee so badly that I was like, oh, I just unzipped my fly. Like I stayed in my tent because I didn't want to go outside and get charged. So I peed outside the fly. Like I just stuck my bum out, peed, and I was like, oh, relief. So I came back in. I was lying down, looking up at the top of my tent, and something was hitting it. So it's like literally was above my tent. I was like, oh, I am going to die. My mom was like, why are you going to Africa? Go to Australia. Like all these things were playing in my mind, and I was filled with fear. So I fell asleep. But I woke up, and it was that early dewy dawn morning. I opened my eyes, and I'm like, I'm alive. Like, oh my gosh. So I go out, I look out. First of all, I unzip the tent. I look down, I peed in my Birkenstocks. So that was like, I peed right. But then I got out, and guess what had happened?
What?
An elephant shit on my tent. Like he was eating out of the tree, and his butt was right above me. It was like such a totally good metaphor, because I got shit on. And then I looked at it, and it was like, if you've ever seen elephant poo, like you have to like drive around it on the road, like it's big.
Oh my God.
This is the best part of the story. This is what really hit me. So I was so happy to be alive, and I was sitting outside by myself. No one's around. The sun's coming up. I'm drinking, like I made some coffee, and was just noticing, like all of a sudden out of nowhere, like a line of these beautiful dung beetles, like 1,000, came marching towards the pile of poo. And for 2 hours, they made these like Super Bowl sized rolls. They rolled the whole pile away. And I immediately got the download. Well, really kind of years later, it was like, normally what we do is we go buy wheelbarrows and shovels, and we're like, oh God, I gotta go clean my tent. Like this happened. This is like, I got shit on. This has happened. I've got to take care. I've got to take control here. Like it can't be. I'm going to clean it. But it's like they took it all away. It was so miraculous. It happened quickly. They used it for fuel and for their bedding. It's like everything's used. Everything in life is used. I had the insight that's like, wow, like shit happens. It doesn't matter what's in the shit. Like we sometimes we want to analyze the shit. Like, why did this happen? Why did he shit on me? And what did he eat? Like, what's in here? And we like, do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's helpful because sometimes talking about it or like processing stuff is like, but at the end of the day, it's happened. But it's like this, our true nature, I think, is not to get too caught up in the doing, right? It's really the being piece that I witnessed this like miracle, that sometimes when we get out of the way, we unscrew our heads, we let things be even as they are. So whether you're not well right now, or you've lost your job, or you're in debt, it's like, let it just be what it is right now, and you'll be guided to the next step. And I think that's what this is about. Like the less fear and thinking we have around it, the more clear the next step is.
I love that. That was a great story to end off. Oh my gosh, just to witness like the interconnectedness, and that everything yes, is working together.
I actually
When you're
found this one thing.
supported.
I wanted to actually say this one thing.
Yeah.
I literally, when I was like, this morning, this came to me because I was like, I would really like something just to kind of close up. And I love this. Did not write it, but one of the teachers I have sent it. Sometimes there is an opening, a surprising moment in time, a light, a doorway, a shift, not in the calendar, but in consciousness. A moment not like others, one that was never meant to follow the rules. A kind of day that feels like a portal, a thin place where the illusion of lack, fear, and limitation lifts, and you remember who you really are. You are soul, a creator, a being of light and knowing. When you step through this kind of moment, you stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start living in the energy of yes. Yes to soul, yes to truth, yes to what lights you up. May you remember the light that lives in you. May you walk through the portal of this moment, and may you say yes to your soul again and again. Isn't that beautiful?
Wow, that is beautiful.
It's my
Well,
kind of
yes, may we all say yes to our soul.
Thank
Yes,
you for having me.
as aspects of consciousness, yes. Well, thank you so much, Nona. This has been
Thank
wonderful.
you. Yeah, sorry,
And
I'm using that sort of like soul woo-woo language, and
no,
I
that's
love,
okay. That
yeah, I just love
it
Tom's work
serves.
so much that I've re-picked up his books and I'm seeing them in a new way. It's so neat to like, it's probably been a decade since I actually read,
Mm,
and I don't even think I made it through the third. So it's like, I love how he showed up and how it's
yeah.
like our stories have intersected.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love this. Well, then I'm sure there will be more to talk about because you have so much to share.
Yeah, I do have a Substack, and I stopped it for a while. It's called The
Yeah.
Field, and I'm going to go back on and start something called 9 Minutes with Nona, where I just share a little story every week on a
Nice.
Sunday, and it's free. So if it's some of the things I resonate with, if they want to follow me, it's
Yeah.
called The Field. Field Notes within My Name's Nona. So if you look
Okay.
under, you can follow for free, and I will be resuming it again. And like,
Awesome.
yeah,
I can share. I can share links so you can send me.
yeah, okay, I will.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
take care.
All
Okay,
right.
much love.
Oh, thank you. All right. Take care, everyone.